All right, guys, let's get our next applied lesson going here. This will be a short video, so we don't have to worry too much about this one. All right, so look, table of contents. Go ahead and pause, copy this down. And as we're moving through this video, just pause to copy the stuff so you don't have to worry about it. All right, so here's your vocabulary. You already have something in vocab. This is on page 4. So pause as needed. All right, and here's the first part. So we want to do is be able to identify parts of a quadratic graph. And it's not showing up on the screen, so I'm going to write it down here. This will be written on page 9. All right, so look, here's what we got going on. Quadratics are these U-shape. So it's a U-shape. And they go on forever to the left and right. So these are like little arrows up here. So it's kind of cleaning up the graph. And it's going to go in one direction forever. So this one has a bottom and it goes up forever. They could also have a top and go down forever. And there is one point that's either the highest or lowest. That point is called the vertex. So we've given that name to you right here. And if the vertex is at the bottom of the graph, it's a minimum. If it's at the top, it's a maximum. So it's kind of common sense. Y-intercepts are where the graph touches the y-axis. That also happens to be the vertex on this problem. It doesn't have to be. X-intercepts are where the graph hits the x-axis. So you can see labeled on those 2 points. And then there's this purple line in the middle, in case you didn't know it. Notice it. That is called the axis of symmetry. It cuts the parabola perfectly in half, and it always goes through the vertex. So let's label what these are. On this graph, the vertex is the point. It has an x value of 0 and a y of 1, 2, 3, of -4. So 0, -4. That is the vertex. Now the vertex also tells you what the axis of symmetry is. Since it always cuts through the vertex, all we do is say x equals the x value. Literally, you know what the x value is, so you just write that down. That is the equation of the axis of symmetry. It's just x equals 0. If it was a different spot, it'd be x equals whatever that number is. So the y-intercept happens to be the same point as the vertex here, so it is still 0, -4. This right x-intercept is the point 2, 0, and the left one is -2, 0. So these are the parts of the quadratic. You'll get to know this shape, and you'll get to know this weird word. It means parabola. I mean, this is also a parabola here, which is a U shape, not parabola. It's parabola. All right, so we'll keep working on that. So now this is in your notes. Underneath this, we're going to start our next little piece, and it's going to be diamond problems. Now, I'm hoping this is something you're familiar with from middle school. And so I've given you instructions at the top. Basically, hey, look, we add the left and right numbers to get the bottom. We multiply them to get the top. So to show my work, I'm going to go -3 times 8. That gives me the top of -24. To get the bottom, I do -3 plus 8. And that gives me 5. Now, if you're not good at adding numbers because the negatives mess you up, or you just never learned your multiplication tables and stuff, man, just use the calculator. We don't have to stress about this. No reason. Now, just like any puzzle, you're not always going to be given the left and right side. We can be given any combination of 2, and based off knowing that they have to add to the bottom and the left and right and multiply to the top, we can use that to figure out the rest. So the second question, we've been given the top, which is a multiplier. So to get this number, I'm asking myself, -3 times what number is 18? So if you know that off the top of your head, you can do it that way. But sometimes the numbers aren't pretty. So let's work backwards instead. If we know that these two numbers have to multiply to 18, I can take the 18 and divide by one of them. So if I go 18 divided by -3, that gives me -6. So it's working backwards. Now that I have those two numbers, I can add them up and get my -9. Okay, so now let's use that same skill set over here. I need to get this number right here. And since I'm given the 12 at the bottom, I go, well, they were supposed to add to 12, so I'm going to do the opposite of adding and subtract. So over here, I'm going to go 12 minus the -3. Put that into your calculator or do it in your head. And you are going to get a +15. Now that I have that, I can simply just multiply them to get my -45. And voila, we have completed the diamond problems. So we're going to be practicing all these things. We're going to talk about them in our Zoom meetings if you haven't had Zoom yet. And to wrap it up, you do have 2 problems to do for homework. Nothing crazy. And if you are unable to get your book, if you cannot get into the ebook, you can always get a book by calling the school. Call the school to get a book. Even if you have an ebook, you can still do this if you want. But also, you may want to try this. If you've never had an ebook, this might be part of the problem. When you go to the ebooks.cpm, I just learned about this today. If it's your first time, you can click, there's a first time spot on there. Click on that and see if you can't fill out the information assigned to get on. We'll do more of this during our Zoom meeting. I'm going to bring it up, so hopefully we will have problem solved everybody's issue with getting on by the time we get out of here for this weekend. But if worse comes to worse, man, just call the school, get yourself a book, and you at least you're good to go. All right, man, everyone stay safe, take care. Don't forget your work, submit it to Canvas, and we'll catch you in your Zoom meeting.